is Tuesday, July 9th. This is Noreen Johnson, and here are the good news headlines of the day. This week, President Joe Biden formally rejected a bill in Congress that would require individuals to show proof of U.S. citizenship to register to vote in elections for federal offices. A policy statement from the Biden administration said it strongly opposes the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act introduced by Representative Chip Roy of Texas earlier this year, and is expected to get a vote in the Republican-led House as early as this week. The statement did not mention the prospect of a veto. It is already illegal for non-citizens to vote in federal elections. Additionally, making a false claim of citizenship or unlawfully voting in an election is punishable by removal from the United States and a permanent bar to admission. The statement added, states already have effective safeguards in place to verify voters' eligibility and maintain the accuracy of voter rolls. This bill would do nothing to safeguard our elections, but it would make it much harder for all eligible Americans to register to vote and increase the risk that eligible voters are purged from voter rolls. Biden claims the evidence is clear that the current laws to prevent non-citizen voting are working as intended. It is extraordinarily rare for non-citizens to break the law by voting in federal elections. He says he will continue fighting to protect Americans' sacred right to vote in free, fair, and secure elections. The Trump campaign doesn't want to get in the way of Democrats shooting at each other over President Biden's re-election chances, with a source telling Fox News Digital that the former president prefers to focus on campaigning and the upcoming Republican National Convention instead of on his rival's implosion. Other than challenging Biden to a second debate, one that he proposes occur without any moderators, former President Trump is instead focused on his campaign and winning. The Trump campaign source said this: Democrats are in disarray. Why get in the way of them shooting at each other? Right now, the campaign's sole focus is the GOP nominating convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which begins on July 15th, where President Trump is expected to be formally nominated during the convention as the 2024 Republican presidential nominee. In other news, the city of Atlanta received $4.85 million in funding in 2023, the first year of the Federal Emergency Management Agency's Shelter and Services Program for migrants. In 2024, the city will get $10.89 million in the second year, with another round of funding later in the year to be announced. FEMA's Shelter and Services Program is another indicator of the growing impact of the arrival of millions of foreign nationals in the U.S. since President Joe Biden took office. The program provides grants to communities for the expenses they will incur for handling migrants. There were 14 states, including Washington, D.C., that received the first tranche of money in fiscal year 2023. Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose recently announced a new voter data integrity program that began in 6 counties and is now going statewide. The program uses county-specific digital dashboards to help identify voter registration discrepancies. LaRose said this: these data entry discrepancies are not commonly indicative of fraud or irregularities, but they must be resolved in order to comply with our shared statutory responsibility to maintain the accuracy of the statewide voter registration database. Before the dashboards were created, local boards managed their systems. The dashboards give county boards of election access to dashboards that show the number of registration records flagged for potential errors, such as illegal characters in name fields, placeholder birth dates, and really high ages and improper birth registration date combinations. Mistakes were often made because information was manually entered into the state's database from handwritten forms over the years. July 9th marks the feast of the 120 martyrs in China. Religious persecution long in history in China, including the persecution of Christians, thousands who have died for their faith in the last millennium. On October 1st, 2000, Pope John Paul II canonized 120 men, women, and children who gave their lives for the faith in China between the years 1648 and 1930. The martyrs include 87 native Chinese and 33 foreign missionaries. The majority were killed during the Boxer Rebellion of 1900. The Holy Father said this during their canonization: Chinese men and women of every age and state, priests, religious lay, people, showed the same conviction and joy, sealing their unfailing fidelity to Christ and the Church with the gift of their lives. To the 120 martyrs of China, we say, pray for us. And those are your daily good news headlines. This is Catholics for Catholics. May God bless you, and may God bless the USA.